Hey, we got the gang back together. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Glad to have you here. Jason, we got Steven, we got your mom here. We're all set.
yeah.
Hope you guys had a good Christmas, good New Year's, and just wanted to have you guys on here because, half the time I'm just working with students for a while. And this is kind of the best part, man. When I got your text that you crushed it, got a 31, man, that's absolutely awesome. How'd that make you feel?
Pretty good. Considering the fact I was pretty sure I bombed the math section, I'm not that bad.
So all I saw was the composite score. What did you end up getting kind of across the board in English and math, reading and science? Do you have that available?
Yeah, it was 27 math, 31 science, 32 reading, 32 English.
Nice job, man. We were trying to get those scores, up into the 30s to go ahead and give you that sense when especially it comes to the composite and the average. It's like, man, you get that English score up, you get that science score up. And you know what? That science one, that was the one that you rocked every single test that you took, man. And so, when you were going through that, what was the main thing that you started to figure out about that science section? Was it as hard as everybody made it out to be?
I knew that I would have the time to do it. So if I stopped freaking out about how long it took me and just did the problems.
Yeah. It was
Because
crazy.
time isn't something you can't really control, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. You got to start to realize that it's all problem solving. Like the entire test is all about just focusing on what they want and making sure that you're looking in the right place. Right. So that's awesome, man. I'm so proud of you for putting in the work, knocking out the 31. Are you done? Or are you going back and trying to get more?
Our school offers the ACT free during the day, March 1st. That's
Yeah.
like the school. So yeah, I'm gonna keep studying using the practice test, all that, and hope to
Excellent.
get my super score up there because all the colleges I want to go to super score. So yeah, just keep chugging along, seeing, and then if I show improvement, feel like I could still do better, I might take it one more time in early summer.
That's awesome. Guys, what Jason was able to do was start to realize that, the first or the second time that you take anything might not be the best score that you get. Jason, like going in and saying, I might take it, one time or two times more. You're in a great position because you kind of have that safety net that can really just go ahead and say, I don't need like to get anything higher, but you know what? I'm coming in confident, certain, ready to go. So, looking at what Jason did, guys, what was your take on his efforts and what the time he put in, and just I saw him as being just super determined kind of throughout this whole thing. What did you guys see?
I think it helped him to have scheduled tutoring and then having to like check in with someone, right? Because then he got really motivated to do, because I know that it's a lot easier to do it if you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is starting to work for the other, because like with the super score, you don't have to move everything up. You just have to move the lowest up, right?
Exactly. And that's
He's been working, he's got books, and yeah, his ADHD meds didn't kick in right away. Is that?
Yeah. Now, yeah, once they started kicking in, I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't that bad.
Take them early enough and so finish the math. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I had like one or two problems left. So, who knows if I actually take my meds early enough, what could happen?
Yeah. He actually
Well,
took it out a little bit after he took it, because he said he thought I think you did better on the math than he thought you did.
Yeah.
And walking out of there. So I
Yeah.
think working the problems and practicing the test helps a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely does. And I think you nailed it on the head. You said, having that accountability and that structure is really, really important, because a lot of the times if we're just like, hey, Jason, you got the next 2.5 years to like get the score that you want. Most of the time, most students, Jason, would probably be like, well, I'm going to burn about 500 of those days and maybe look at it like 3 days before the last time I can take the test. And you know what? I said it earlier that it's really just about getting comfortable. It's about putting yourself in that space where you're like, oh, I've seen what this section looks like. I know what the questions are. I know the traps to avoid, right? And
Mhm.
so, Jason, as you were kind of going through the program and picking up those things, I really preach about just committing to the process and following the plan, mastering the fundamentals, and then just challenging yourself to continue pushing past, where you're at. Did one of those three kind of stick out to you as like, oh yeah, like that was something that really helped me improve?
Um, it was really having that review of just like, oh yeah, this is how the ACT wants you to use a semicolon. This is, because
Yeah.
like grammar stuff is kind of flexible usually. So having like the definite like cheat sheet of, oh, this is what is right. If there is going to be a dash there has to be a second dash, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Shortest answer is usually the most correct one. All of that stuff, just getting that general like layout of just keep these things in the back of your head, and it makes
Mhm.
everything so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's just mastering the fundamentals, right? You didn't have to learn a billion English rules. You just had to learn this guy is, 10 to 15 different things. And I told you guys, it's just rinse and repeat, right? They can only ask you about so many English rules on that test. And, hopefully if you know those things like the back of your hand, Jason, you'll go in the next time and be like, cool, let me like focus on this again and knock it out, man. So that's just so cool to kind of see you had this challenge in front of you with this, and you put the work in, you came up with a plan, you followed it, you executed it, and you got the result, man. And you know what? You're still on the journey. It's not like maybe we're done. We're going to go ahead and take another stab at it. And that's really life, man. You're going to see that in some other high school classes. You're going to see that in college classes. You might see that in your career, in relationships. Like it's just about overcoming the challenge and not just saying, oh, this is the way it is. I'm always going to get this score in English, or I'm always going to get this score in math. So as you look at those scores, I'm sure you've identified that the math section is kind of where it kind of brought you down just a hair, huh?
Mm-hmm. I
So
think
what do you think? What's your plan? If you were gonna, design this, how would you raise that up? What do you think you need to do?
I need to firstly brush up again on like, this is how the area of a cylinder. This is the geometry tricks.
Fundamentals,
And
right?
just like make double checking, because like I know it, I'm just not sure of myself. And so if I don't have to waste time to second guess myself, then that just gives me better opportunities. And just like not worrying about, okay, I have a minute per question, there's 23 minutes left, I have 22 minutes left, I get 20, I can take 1 minute and 1/23 of a second on each problem.
You don't
Because
want
the
to
amount
think
of
that way,
time that
man.
I spent doing that math in my head.
Could drive me
Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah,
see your mom like chuckling, and you're probably like, "This is the way he thinks about everything." I'm like,
Yes,
"Yeah,
it's a very Jason thing to do.
yeah, very Jason thing to do." And you know what, man? Thinking about that, it causes stress. And you know what? The best thing to do on this test is to go in and just know down to your core that you're prepared. Everything that you did before this test, you did everything that I told you to do. You had the test taken, you had it graded, you were watching the solution videos, you were diagnosing your errors. Dude, that's what it takes, right? And not everybody is going to do that. And you know what? There's people that get results and there's people that don't. And that's what I always like to show people. That's why I like jumping on here to just commend you for what you did, man, because it's not easy, guys, right? Jason, I'm sure you had other stuff going on that you probably wanted to spend your time doing that. But you know what? At the end of the day, we made the goal and we set it. And I know that you can go even further, man. You can get a 32, you can get a 33, you can move that English score up to a 34 or 35. Just takes a little bit more practice. You don't need another 10 questions. You need like 2, right? You're
yeah.
so close. And so I would definitely encourage you to kind of just keep pushing while you have time, because spend a little bit more time, you can get another awesome chunk in terms of scholarship money, get that up even a little bit further. So, Jason, when it comes to maybe people that are before you that haven't taken the ACT yet, or maybe you're like sitting at a lower score and want to get up into the 30s, the 31, 32, what would be your best recommendation in terms of helping those people to say, hey, like what should be the course of action? What should be the steps?
It's not real. The ACT isn't about like how much you know. It's just about being able to play ball. Because once you learn what they're looking for, it doesn't matter what you know. It's just matters if you're willing to play the game that they want you to play.
Yeah.
So just learning out what they're looking for and what you need to do instead of, oh, I need to memorize this, absolute giant book of grammar terms. You don't need that. You just need to just do what they want, because at the end of the day, it's their test, not yours.
Yeah. I think I said that a lot of times. It's not what Jason wants. It's what the ACT wants. Right. And you know what? It's a funny game, guys, but you know what? It's something that I think everybody should learn. It's like, oh, I should learn how to play the game with the rules that are a part of that game. And once you realize that, it's not just the ACT, it's anything. How do I get better at business? How do I get better at this skill? Well, it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter and saying, okay, I don't need to read that 500-page book. I need to go and find the source of what they're covering and go into it. So like I said, Jason, you came in, man. I'm so proud of you for what you were able to do. And, you've said it, just hit the nail on the head, learn the rules, commit to the process, follow the plan, execute what's there. And it gets you there, man. So congratulations, Jason. Well done.